Join me in welcoming Angela Smart Flinn. Hey, Angela, how you doing today?
I'm so good. How are you today, Steve?
Doing so good, thanks. So we're here today to talk about your exciting book, The Other Side of Shattered. But before we jump into the book, just tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
I've been in bodywork and the healing field for almost 30 years now. And in the last 5 years, I started doing trauma recovery work for people and coaching. And so I facilitate retreats and I hold space for people to walk through the hard things so that they can heal.
I absolutely love that. I totally love the word shattered. It's actually in a new song that I just wrote. But tell us from your side, what do you mean by the other side of shattered?
Well, it's kind of funny. So I was in a really dark and feeling very broken place in my life. And the title for the book dropped into my head. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good story. I would read it. And then the next thought that dropped into my head was, it's your story. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. Because I was still at that moment, I was still feeling very shattered. I was going through a divorce, and it had been a very tumultuous and painful relationship, and there was a lot of collateral damage with my kids, and just trying to find myself again after that. Like I said, I've been doing healing work and personal development work for a lot of years, and I was kind of beating up on myself that I'd let myself get into a bad situation. And so that's the shattered part that I was coming from. Um, and uh, but looking back as I started doing the work on the book, there's so many other things in this life that can also make us feel shattered, whether it's abuse or whether it's grief that we haven't processed, or just some of those hard things that happen in life that kind of feel like your feet get knocked out from underneath you and you're like, you don't know what's next.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, no, I totally understand that one completely. And it's a memoir in poetry, so most of it is poetry. Over what period of time do these poems cover?
um so basically from age 2 to about age 45.
Wow. So, pretty well your whole entire life you've covered in
Hmm.
the course of the book. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, totally unfair question. I admit it up front, but do you have a favorite poem or a favorite part of the book that's the piece that just really stands out the most for you?
mm, that is an unfair question. um but I think that the final poem of the book, which is Canyons, is probably my favorite. But I also really love the poem about the last mask.
Hmm, I love that.
So the reason I love the poem about the last mask is because it's about just learning to accept and love me where I'm at, all of me.
Having gone through the book, you've been through a lot of things in life. How easy is it to allow the trauma you've been through, the things that you wish you could just hit the delete key on? What is it taken for you to get through those?
Well, I've done a lot of work, and I think probably the biggest factor that started shifting things for me, obviously, it was my relationship with God. And right second behind that was learning how to heal my nervous system, because you can do belief work and you can do mindset work and you can do coaching and you can do therapy and all of those things. But if your body still feels like you're in danger, it's still going to respond like you're in danger. And so, like, learning how to regulate my nervous system and like be able to get to a place where my body felt and recognized calm, and where my body felt and recognized safety was huge in coming to where I am today.
I know somebody is asking to themselves or screaming at the monitor, whichever it might be. Um, how do you even find that calm place? I don't know that I even really have ever experienced it, and for sure, I don't remember what it was like.
Um, a large part of it is learning to be present in your body. Our bodies are beautifully designed, and like they are just so genius, and there's so many ways that our body tries to communicate with us. And I think when you've been through trauma, when you've been through really hard things, like we just kind of move up and live in our headspace, and we don't ever drop down into our body. And if we can drop down into our body, we can get so many messages from it. And if we listen to those messages and try to support what our body's asking for, that's how you get to that calm place.
Absolutely. That is really important too, is that you have to both feel it, and then you have to you have to actually listen to it, not run from it.
Right.
Although the running from it is sometimes feels easier, it really isn't.
Yeah. Like I ran from writing this book for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I understand the running part of it.
Absolutely. So, the other side of shattered, somebody is feeling shattered. I know there's a lot of people that feel that, but give us an idea of what it can look like. What can it feel like on the other side of shattered?
I think, like, I can't speak to everybody's experience, but for my experience, I remember when I was going through my training about my nervous system, I remember the first time that I felt safe. And that was something that I hadn't ever really acknowledged that I had felt before in my whole life. Like I just felt like everything was going to be okay. Everything was going to work out for me. And it's I remember I had this one defining moment, and it's kind of a funny story, but I had bought myself tickets to a concert, and I'd spent a lot of money. This was one of my favorite artists, and I was really looking forward to going. And I live in Wyoming, which is a 6-hour drive from Utah at least. And that's where the concert was. And the concert was in February. And at the time, the day before the concert, we had a massive blizzard hit us, which is, pretty normal for Wyoming. And the next day, the temperatures dropped to -20. And I didn't have a heater in my van, and my windshield wipers weren't working in my van. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to drive a mountain pass in -20-degree weather in those conditions. And so I had to relinquish going to the concert. Well, I still had the day off work, and everybody else I knew was working. And I don't have a whole lot of friends here in Wyoming. Like my friends are throughout the country, but here in Wyoming, there wasn't a whole lot of friends to go and spend time with. But so I took myself shopping, and I went to a boutique, and I went and sat in the hot tub at my pool, and I was totally content to be by myself and to do little simple things. And like that was mind-blowing for me. I'm like, there's something happening, because the thing that I've learned is that when you're always up here in this escalated state from trauma or nervous system, whatever, like the calm and the little things, it feels unfamiliar at first, right? And so when you slowly work yourself down into that, like it was just this huge realization that like I'd had a day of very simple little things, and it was perfectly content and happy, and it was still a great day, even though I didn't get to go to the concert.
I love that story. As you were telling it, I was even thinking of a friend of mine that I was talking to just the day or two ago about a really good day that they had. And so much so that their therapist was even questioning whether they were having some mental issues, basically, because, as we talked through it, I was like, no, you were happy. That's what happy feels like. And they're like, no. Yeah. I'm like, no, really, this is what it feels like. The sun does feel just a little bit brighter, and everything just looks a little nicer. And, you do kind of almost feel like everything and everybody in the world loves you, because happiness is just so foreign when we're in that traumatized state, that then when we do experience it, then it feels just so wrong. It's like, oh, I must be going crazy,
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
as you're telling that, I was totally thinking of exactly what they were saying when they were telling it. I was like, no, you didn't go crazy. You went normal, actually.
Right.
I love that.
And I think that like another like big, because we never see our own progress. It doesn't matter what we're doing. Like it's hard to see your own progress. It's hard to see how much you've come, how far you've come, and what you've accomplished. But through the process of writing this book, I realized that I went from a place of never speaking about my abuse other than in terms of very generalized, very minimalized ways of speaking about it, and to a place where I told my family, my parents, and my brother and my sister-in-law, like the details of what happened. And I had never done that before. And now I speak about it and I wrote a book about it. And so that tells me, like right in there, that there's a lot of healing that's been done, because for 40 years I couldn't speak about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing stuff. I absolutely love that. So, talk to us about what's next. Okay, we get the book, we feel identified with. It's like, wow, somebody else has been through what I've been through. How can you help them? Give us some ideas of some of the work you do with people.
So one of the things that I do with people, it's a modality called TRE, and it stands for trauma and tension release exercises. And it's just actually a really simple practice that is designed to allow the body to activate both your sympathetic and then your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, like your sympathetic, that's your fight or flight, that's your responses to all the stimulus that keeps you alive. But your parasympathetic is what resets your body back into rest and digest, which is where you can heal, which is where you get recuperation. And a lot of us have shut that response off. Like we just keep going and we just stay in that elevated state. So one of the first things that I help people do is to get back in their body and to regulate that nervous system and maybe knock a couple of notches off of that stress level down.
I love that. How long does it take? I mean, I think everybody kind of wants to know, how quick can I quote unquote fix me?
Right? And we all want it like in an instant, right?
Right.
The first time and I thought that way too, because I've been in the healing world, I've been in, professional development. I'm like, yeah, you bet, just change your mind. You can do it that quick. But after my first weekend of doing this practice, I was like, oh, there's kind of a lot there to unpack. And so this modality, what I love about it is it allows you to be gentle with yourself and really honestly meet your body where it's at. And when you do that, it opens up the space and it gives you safety and it gives you freedom within that safety. And so like it can take maybe 6 months of good solid work before you see some real difference. But the thing is, it's lasting difference. It's not just, I feel good after the weekend.
I love that.
It's changes that go with you. But it's the same way, like if I were to go to the gym on Monday and work out for 2 hours, that's not enough for the rest of the week. I still need to keep working out. Right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, if you eat one carrot, it doesn't mean all of a sudden you're going to get healthy.
Exactly. You can't drink a gallon of water on Monday and not have another drink for the rest of the week.
I love it. And of course, you can get the book. The book is called The Other Side of Shattered. It is a memoir and poetry. You can get the book today for free on Amazon, actually. I put the link in the comments and stuff. Before I let you go, just give us some words of encouragement that no matter how shattered you feel, that there is hope, that there is another side.
There absolutely is another side. And I'm going to get emotional about this. Sorry. What I would say is that absolutely you have to know that you're not alone. And that even though you may not see it, there's support all along the way. And most importantly, I feel this very deeply in my heart, is that every experience in our life, whether self-imposed or imposed on us by others, in which we feel broken, God already has a way to make it into something beautiful. So even in those very dark moments, things are already working for your good to get you to the other side.
Yes. I love that. Well, Angela, I love your book. It's boldly, brutally honest. There's some very harshly real stuff in it, and I was really proud of all of the genuineness you put in it. And I do hope everybody will go and get the book, The Other Side of Shattered by Angela Smart Flinn. Thanks so much for joining us today, Angela.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.